Okay, here are your solutions to 5-4. These are the letter problems. So the first problem is letter A. It asks us to find the sum of the interior angle measures of each polygon. Well, in this case, the polygon is a hexagon. That means we have 6 sides, and we have to take 6 and subtract 2 from it. That will be equal to 4, and then we're going to take 4 and multiply it by 180, and 4 times 180 is 720 degrees. So our first case, it's 720 degrees. In our second case, we have an octagon that is 8 sides, so we're going to do 8 minus 2 is 6 times 180. 6 times 180 degrees is 1,080. So for an octagon, we have 1,080 degrees. And lastly, we have a 15-agon. And obviously, you should recognize that that is a 15-sided polygon. So we're going to subtract 2 from that. That would be 13. So our math is 13 times 180. And we have 2,340 degrees. So this is 2,340 degrees. Let's look at letter D. It asks us to find the measure of one interior angle in each regular polygon, round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So since we're doing an octagon, we are going to 8 minus 2 equals 6, and then we're going to take that times 180, which equals 1,080. We're going to take 1,080 and divide by the number of sides in an octagon, which is 8, and 1,080 divided by 8 is 135 degrees. So we have 135 degrees. So this was 135. Our next problem, a heptagon is 7-sided, so we're going to multiply 5 times 180 equals 900, and then 900 divided by the number of sides, which is 7, and we get 128.571, and that of course rounds to, they asked us to do it to the nearest tenth if necessary right here, so that is 128.6 because the 7 rounds the 5 up to 6, 128.6, and of course don't forget degrees. And then lastly, we have a 20-agon. So we're going to multiply 18 times 180, which equals 3,240. And that needs to be divided by 20, which is our number of sides, divided by 20, divided by 3,240 divided by 20 is 162. So this is 162 degrees. These are things that definitely need to be, some samples like this definitely need to be on your gold sheet so you remember. Okay, let's take a look at problem number 3. Find the measure of an exterior angle. And remember, when it comes to exterior angles, they always have a total of 360 degrees. So if we have a triangle, we would have 3 angles, so 3x equals 360 degrees. Divide both sides by 3. We can kind of do this in our head. 3 divided by 3 is 1, 6 divided by 3 is 2, and 0 divided by 3 is 0, so that's 120 degrees. So x here would be 120. Next we have a quadrilateral, which is 4-sided, so we're going to have 4x, because there's 4 angles, equals 360. Divide both sides by 4, and we get 90 degrees, because 36 divided by 4 is 9, and then of course we have a 0. So we have 90 degrees. And lastly is an octagon, which is 8 sides, so we have 8x equals 360. So we're going to divide both sides by 8. This is x, and 360 divided by 8 is 45, so we have 45 degrees. Here are your solutions to 5-4. This, of course, is guided practice. It asks us to find the sum of the interior angle measures of each polygon. So the sum of the interior angles is going to be, for a quadrilateral, this is going to be 4 sides. A nonagon is 9 sides, and a 12-agon, of course, is 12 sides. So in this case, we're going to take we're going to subtract 2 from 4, so minus 2, we get 2, and we're going to multiply 2 times 180, and 2 times 180 is 360 degrees. Here we're going to subtract 2 from 9, that's 7 times 180, and 7 times 180 is 1,260 degrees. And lastly, the 12-agon, this is nice and easy because 12 minus 2 is 10, and 10 times 180 is, of course, the 180. Add the extra 0, so it's 1,800 degrees. All right, let's take a look at problem number 4. It tells us that the quilt pattern shown is made of repeating equilateral triangles. Equilateral triangle means that all the side lengths are the same and all the angles are the same. What is the measure of one interior angle of an equilateral triangle? Well, first of all, we should remember that the interior angles of a triangle are 180 degrees. If you didn't remember that, you could take the number of sides, 3, minus 2, which of course equals 1, and then we multiply that by 180. Remember, that's our formula. So really all that tells us there are 180 degrees in this triangle, and of course there's 3 angles. So if we have 3 angles, 3 times one of those angles has to equal 180 degrees, which of course tells us to divide both sides by 3. 18 divided by 3 is 6. We have a 0 there, so we have 60 degrees. We would have 60 degrees for an interior angle here. Now it asks us to find the measure of an exterior angle of a regular pentagon. Pentagon has 5 sides. Remember, exterior angle, they always add up to a total of 360 degrees. Okay, all of the angles together, find the measure of a single exterior angle. Well, if the total is 360 and there are 5 of them, we would say that 5x, 5 times one of them, would give us the 360. Divide both sides by 5, and we would have x equals 72. So for problem number 5, we have 72 degrees. And then lastly, number 6, building on the essential question, how can I find the sum of the interior angle measures of a polygon? The interior measures of a polygon would be, you need to subtract 2. Remember, we're always going to subtract 2 from the number of sides of the polygon and then multiply it by 180. And that is something you definitely want to have in your notes. You should have in your notes how to find an interior angle. You should have in your notes how to find exterior angles. Please do independent practice.